Today's edition of Mac Voices is supported by MacVoices Magazine, our free Flipboard magazine that brings you some of the best Mac, iPhone, and iPad productivity tips on the web. High in signal, low in noise, just like Mac Voices, MacVoices Magazine includes information on how you can get more out of your Apple technology. Subscribe at macvoices.com/magazine or search for Mac Voices Magazine on Flipboard. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we're on the road to Macstock, looking at a great time in July in Woodstock, Illinois, at one of my favorite weekends of the year. We're talking to the folks that are going to be presenting. We're talking to the folks that are going to be attending. We're talking to just anyone that we think is important that you know they're going to be there, what they're going to be doing, and why you should be joining us. This time, for the very first time on Mac Voices, and also as a first-time Macstock presenter, I have Mr. Rick Cartwright joining us. Rick, welcome. It's great to have you for the very first time.
Yeah, wonderful to be here. I'm excited to be a first-time speaker.
Yeah, I bet. I know Mike has quite a few first-time speakers, and I'm looking forward to getting to know all of them. So before we get into what you're going to be talking about, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. We'll go back. I'm a retiree. I recently retired. I worked in the food service industry for 36, 37 years, primarily in engineering. I was an engineer by trade. I was an electrical engineer. Spent the first 18 years of my career writing software. It was near and dear to my heart. I loved coding, and I still love to code when I get a chance, but my coding skills are very rusty. Then I went to the dark side, moved into general management for the last half of my career, and ran some business units for Illinois Toolworks, and then moved to a small company, a family-owned company in Eaton, Ohio, and the name of that's Henny Penny. And worked there for the last 4 or 5 years of my career. And it was kind of a cross of things. The main thing I did was innovation. I ran all the innovation. So I was responsible for engineering, but also marketing. Well, this is called product management. I did product management and a variety of other things, food science, just a lot of fun stuff. I really enjoyed creating new products all my life. Turning something on for the first time just turns me on, and it always will. Probably be trying to turn my casket on when I'm in the casket someday. Who knows?
Okay, I don't think that has ever come up on Mac Voices before. That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, I guess, guys, if it can be wired, I like to wire it, connect it to something, and turn it on. So it's just the way I think.
A true geek. I love it.
Yep.
So you're coming to Macstock as a first-time presenter. What are you going to be talking about?
Well, I'm going to be talking about making videos on iOS and creating videos. It's been a passion of mine since I retired. When I retired, my father had passed away, and I wanted to really focus the rest of my life on things that I was passionate about. And I first started with photography. I have a camera that I love dearly. It's a Nikon. I know Nikons are not in the hot thing these days, but I have a Nikon with a 600 millimeter lens, and I love nature. And so I was doing a lot of hiking and taking pictures of birds, other kinds of wildlife too, but my real passion is birds. So I'm a birder, I guess. So I spent a lot of time with the camera, taking pictures for several months, really enjoyed it, and fell in love with sharing them. I started a blog, was posting a daily picture of a bird, trying to tell the story behind where I found the picture and what the bird was about. And over time, I was frustrated by my inability to share all of nature that I was seeing and not just the birds. So sometime about August of that year, this was last year, I decided let's just take some video and put it up on YouTube and see if anybody wants to see it. So I started a channel and used the same name as my blog and posted it. And a few people signed up, and I don't have a big following, but it gives me a way to share more pictures than I can share daily in my blog. I still do the blog, but I treat the rest of it more vlogging. And when I did it, I didn't want to do it on my Mac because I'm always traveling and always out and around with it. And I wanted to be able to do this on the run when I'm out in the woods, when I'm taking the pictures, look at them, maybe put some of the vlogs together there. And that's what drove me to doing it on mobile, particularly iOS, since I'm a big Mac guy. And one thing led to another, and it just became a real passion. And now I love making video and trying different kinds of video now. Although the vlog is still the main thing I do. Vlogging is a very different style of video, but I just love doing it.
Well, okay, so we have to geek out just a little bit here. So at the moment, what is the primary setup that you're using for iOS, hardware and software?
It's all mobile. This is incredible. I take a lot of video on the iPhone. I have an Osmo 2 that I use to get stabilization. I use that quite a bit, but I also have the Osmo Pocket, and that thing is amazing for taking video. And I use it with my phone, and then I import that also into the iPad. So I import either one of them into the iPad, of course, and I've got like a terabyte full already on my iCloud space from all these pictures and video. And I use that to get them in, and that's the two tools I use. Is everything's on iOS. The pictures are taken on iOS, except for the ones I use with the Osmo Pocket. The video I take with iOS, except for where I use the Osmo Pocket. I do use a lot of drone photography too. I have DJI drone that I like to fly and take a lot of videos. So I find that gives a perspective that I can't get with the camera, that adds to the content, makes the video more interesting. I get a lot of comments about the video that I take with the drone. So I enjoy adding that to add variability, a little bit of variance to the thing, gives more interesting stuff, more interesting shots. But it all works together, plays together really well. But it's basically a mobile task. I just do it on mobile.
So if you're doing birds of any kind, of any description, I'm a little surprised because I would think that means you have to get fairly close. Are you using any external lenses or anything of that nature?
When I'm doing pictures of birds by themselves, it's all with a 600 millimeter lens. So I can take pictures. I got some eagle pictures that I took at like 2 football fields. They're really way out there, and they're really nice. They're really good pictures. 600 millimeters is even enough sometimes. So the pictures I add to the videos are still pictures of the birds. Then I'll add the scenery around it with the video where I don't need to be zoomed in as much, which works really well. So I'll capture a scene, show some things, and then I'll snap in some pictures of what birds were there because you can't see them on the video. And I'll add still shots of those, and then all that works together with the music. And sometimes I'll describe the birds. Sometimes I don't because, there's just so many of them. This time of year especially, the migration is all in full force. So I'm getting just tons of birds these days right now. So it's a great time to be photographing birds right now.
So if I heard you right, so we've got the Nikon, we've got iOS video, you've got music. I mean, you're doing a full production here of, I guess, your nature environment.
Yep. Yeah, I love mixing it. That putting it together is half the fun, right? I'm a geek. So I love the process of making the videos, and the tools that I use allow me to do that on the iPad so I can make just amazing videography. And I've even done some things that are just unique and different. I've been able to add little touches that are just little fun things. I put some green screen in it. You'd never think there'd be green screen in one of my videos of nature, but I actually used some green screen in one of my videos the other day. So it's a lot of fun.
Very nice. So now we've geeked out a little bit, and so I don't want to scare the audience because it sounds like you're doing some pretty advanced stuff. So what are you going to be showing at Macstock, and what audience do you think it's targeted for? The beginner or the intermediate?
I want to cover all the above. I want to, in the session that I do on stage, I really want to try to give a taste for what some of the various tools are that you could use and how that you can do a lot of really good production using mobile. So I'm going to start with clips and talk about clips, which nobody gives any credit for anything, but I have had an amazing good experience with clips. My granddaughters, I have granddaughters, lots of them, and one grandson. And they love to make videos with me of me and them just having fun. And they'll shoot it. They'll do the work and they'll mix it. They'll put it all together and cut it, do all the cool stuff. I've taught them how to do that, particularly one of them. She just loves to do that. And then she'll talk and I'll show her how to do some things. So I want to show first just some very introductory things to how you can do some very simple things with iOS using your iPhone. And then you can do some more advanced things, talk a little bit about iMovie and some of the things you can do with some of those tools and a few things like that. And then I'll get into some more advanced stuff with LumaFusion, which when I thought about this first started doing LumaFusion, it was hardly known. Now it's become really popular, so it's really exciting.
Well, I have not used Clips much. I admit I'm a big fan of LumaFusion, and as anybody that watches MacVoices knows that my mobile setup is pretty much it is all iOS, and I find it just that what you can do with it, and it's so portable, and it's so powerful that there are very few compromises that you end up making. And if you don't mind buying a little bit of gear and carrying just a little more, the compromises go down to almost zero.
Yep, it's so true. I mean, when I started, I thought I was going to buy a real expensive camera for video because my Nikon won't do real good video. I thought I would do all these things. But it turned out I can make such great videos with iOS without ever touching a more expensive camera or a more capable camera. I mean, I could carry one around, but my shoulders don't want to carry that around. So I'm just enjoying what I can do with iOS, and it's game changing.
So what I think I hear you saying is that you want to get people involved in video.
Yes.
Which seems like you and Wally Cherwinski. This may be the video-oriented Macstock this year. But just to show that people, you don't have to use the most powerful tools, that you can use some of the very basic things and get really good results and exciting results.
Wally's the guy that got me started. I mean, remember when he spoke at that Macstock? I think it may have been the first or the second year, and he talked about video and he talked about using the iPhone. And I had done a few fun videos, but nothing ever serious. And we talked after his talk, and I got really excited. I told him I was going home and I was going to start making some videos. It took me 3 years to really do it. I mean, I was excited about it, but I was not motivated yet. Plus, I was still working a ton of hours, and I just couldn't get time to do it. But then, as soon as I had time, I got online and I DM'd him and said, "Hey, Wally, I'm going to make these videos. Take a look." I sent him some video that I had done and got some feedback. And yeah, I'm a big Wally fan. He was really a big spark in my doing videos.
I love this. Okay, so you are going to be a Macstock presenter a couple of years later, based on something that you saw at a previous Macstock and got excited about it, and you interacted with the presenter, and now here we are, and there you will be in July. I love that. That just shows you the power of Macstock. That's
why I love this conference. I mean, even the talks that you would think are not part of your thing, your gig, what you do, there's always something you can learn from every single speaker. I have never walked out of there without learning something from every single speaker. This will be my 5th straight year. I've been there every year, and I've enjoyed every single speaker. I've learned something from every one of them.
It's hard to make people understand that they look over things and they think, well, this might not apply to me, that might not apply to me. And if you listen, at the very least, they're super interesting. But unlike you, I take away something from every single session that I attend, and some that I knew didn't apply to me at all. And you're kind of sitting through them out of politeness or just because it's on the schedule, waiting for the next one. And surprise, you end up taking notes or saying, "Hey, I didn't know that," or I can use that. And that's an important part of Macstock.
I totally agree. And I hope to take that myself to the people that listen. While not everybody cares about making videos, I would think that there'll be something there even for people that don't want to make videos about how I use my iPad maybe, or how I use my iOS devices in general. So I think there's something for everybody. And I hope to bring that to the talk. I think that's one of the ways I look at this talk, this presentation, is making it motivating to help somebody spark something that would just make them think. That's it.
Yeah, and that's the best thing you can do is you make somebody think, and you hopefully your story and your presentation will make people understand that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on the hardware, and you don't have to spend hundreds of hours learning to use this stuff. You've got the power right there in your hand. You just need to just kind of remember that you have it, think about it, be just a little creative, and you'll probably be hooked.
Boy, is that true. That is so true. I think I waited partially because I was worried about, not having all the right gear, Then I found out I had everything I need. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, I know that's something that I think we all get as geeks. We all get a little hung up on the gear, and you realize it, and especially if you're shooting for the web. I mean, if you were
Oh, yeah.
shooting a motion picture, and I know there's an argument against that there have been motion pictures shot entirely on iOS devices. But yeah, if you get a better camera, sure, it'll look a little better. But the difference between an iPhone and an iPad shooting in 4K and a DSLR, there's a difference, but there's not as much of a difference as you might think.
Yeah. Yeah, I shoot all my video in 4K, which makes the upload a little painful. I even upload them on my iPad. I do it all on my iPad. And I have Macs. I got Macs around the house. I could use a Mac to do it, but I just don't. So it's there. I just do it. And it works just so great.
How do you deal with the storage? Do you have the largest iPad or large iPad storage?
This one, since I retired, I didn't get the largest this time. Usually I always got the biggest. This year, my iPad's 512. I got the newest one, the iPad Pro 12.9, which I just love this thing. But I did the 512. It's worked out really well. I use iCloud for everything. I got the 2 terabytes of space, but it's half full now. And I use iCloud for all the video as well as all the pictures. I think I'm approaching 100,000 photos on there now, as well as tons of video that I need to purge off. I'm going to do something about the video because it's getting too big. I'm going to run out of space someday. I've come to a realization I am going to run out of space. But I can do that way. It works really well. I'm really excited about what may be coming on iOS because I would love to be able to do more with files, importing and exporting from external drives and stuff. So I hope that happens.
Well, and I would think as we see the evolution here of the iPads, I'm with you. I think some of that stuff is just going to become natural because we're seeing more and more people like you that are shooting this stuff, and unfortunately, it all can't live on the iPad. And uploading to the cloud is important, and it's great, but it sometimes can be a little time consuming, to say the least.
Yeah, it's not the fastest process sometimes. Generally, it's all right, but every so often I run into a bandwidth issue, depending on where I'm at. When I'm traveling and we're on the road and I'm trying to upload, it can be frustrating. I remember we were out west and I was shooting some pictures and I had a video I wanted to upload. I went into some fast food place. I didn't even eat. I just wanted to upload the video. I bought a drink, and it was just taking forever. So I stopped. I couldn't do it no longer. I had to quit. So I waited till got somewhere else in a hotel somewhere and got better Wi-Fi.
Yeah, been there, done that. And even hotel Wi-Fi can sometimes be painful depending on the hotel. So
yeah.
So do me a favor. You are going to be a presenter, but you also have been to all 5 Macstocks. Explain to folks why they should come to Macstock, because they're sick of hearing me try to explain it. So why would you tell someone who's on the bubble or thinking about it, why should they come to Macstock?
Well, first of all, I promise you will learn new things. You will learn something you didn't know. You will learn how to do some new things different ways. And this one being about creativity, you will see amazing things as well. That's number one. So just the things you will learn. Number two, the people you will meet. I have met some of the most amazing people, most best friends of my life, at Macstocks every year. I'm a member of I'm of a user group, and I really love to go to my user group. But this is like a user group on steroids. I mean, there's just people from all over the world that come to Macstock, and you get to meet them. You get to talk with them, ask questions, learn about what they do, how they do it. And I have learned a lot that way beyond what's on stage. I think I've learned as much off stage as on stage just because of the people I've met. And lastly, number 3 is the social aspects and the social events that surround Macstock are really, really good. And I enjoy watching, being part of. I'm an extrovert, but when I watch my behavior at those things, I enjoy watching so much that I just enjoy standing by the sidelines and watching the interactions and how people interact. It's just a great time. So I think those are the big reasons that come to my mind. There's probably a million others, but I love that. I've met some amazing people and picked up a lot of great tips.
I'm not going to try to add to that or or challenge any of it because I agree with every single thing you've said and more. So Macstock 2019, go and sign up. Rick, you have a speaker code. What's your speaker code?
My speaker code is Tells Photos. I think I'll have to look it up and text it to you. But it's hang on, I'll look at it. I think it's Tells Photos. My blog is at tells.photos. The domain is .photos, so it's tells.photos. So he used that in my title. It's also the blog name is tells.photos. So he used that for my code, and I'll find it here in a minute. But that's what he used.
Okay, so you can use Rick's code. You can use my code, which is MacVoices. I really don't care which one you use. Save a little money on your Macstock fee. Get there and join Rick, join me, join all of the other speakers that you've heard from so far and that you will be hearing from. We're going to have a great time along with just the people who come just to see everything and learn and interact. It's just a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, it'll be a great time. Like I said, I promise. And you would just enjoy it. I look forward to meeting you there. So sign up so we can meet, and it'll be exciting.
Sounds good. Rick, thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to seeing you again in person, and seeing just what you're doing with your iPad that maybe I can learn from you, because there are things that you're saying there that's like, okay, how does he do that? I want to see how you do it.
Well, I look forward to sharing it in the deep dive. I plan on going through make a vlog. I'm going to post one right from there. So I'm going to save some pictures and save some video and put one together as much as I can right there live, put some music in it. And so you'll get to see that process in my live session during the deep dive.
Yeah, that's the only problem with Macstock. If there's one problem, is you want to go to every single session, every single deep dive, and sometimes you can't. But with Mike doing the new video thing, so that if I can't get to one, at least I can consume it later. It's an embarrassment of riches.
That was so frustrating last year. There were so many I wanted to go to. I was so glad when he did the videos, because there was several that I wanted to do the deep dive that I couldn't go to because I was conflicted. Which one do I go to? I was trying to send my wife to one so I could go to the other one, but she wanted to go to the same one, so we didn't. We just had to watch the video. It was good.
Absolutely. Well, I will see you at Macstock, and looking forward to it.
Look forward to it. Can't wait to meet you there. See everyone there.
Rick, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. And again, we really want to see you at Macstock. So Macstock2019.com. Go and sign up. Use Rick's code, use my code, or don't use any code. I don't care. Just get there. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.